Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
In my tradition, we say Assalamu alaikum, which means may peace and blessings be upon you. And in this early hour of the morning, I certainly need peace and blessings to be fully present and with you all, and hopefully you receive them in that tradition. I am so thrilled to be here. I have been a long-time admirer of the YWCA. They even tried to recruit me to serve on the board at some point, and I really wanted to, but I was unable to. And this organization is so meaningful to me because it's an organization I wish I had access to when I was a little girl, when I was a teenager, when I was a young woman. In all the stages in my life where I was looking for direction, looking for mentorship, looking for inspiration, and I too often found it from men, which was fantastic, but I couldn't find as many women role models as I really needed in my day-to-day life. And I'm grateful that the YWCA does that and so much more. When my family and I came to this country, I was just 15 months old. I was a prototypical immigrant story where my parents came to this country with one child in each of their arms, just a year apart, barely a year apart, and one suitcase each. My parents, who were born in the former Yugoslavia, grew up in a socialist country where they felt neither freedom of speech, freedom of religion, nor educational opportunities. My parents, who were born in the 40s and 50s, only made it to middle school in Eastern Europe. And so for them, when they got married, they knew that they wanted more. They wanted something different, and that they knew that they had to make a change in their lives that could create a difference for their children and the grandchildren they hope to see one day. So my parents reinvented their lives for the first time by moving to Austria in 1970 with a middle school education between them and no German whatsoever. They lived there for 8 years, they made a life, they had 2 children, but they decided that they realized that they were never fully going to be Austrian, that they would always be seen as foreigners. And it wasn't good enough for them. They put it all on the line, and they decided to reinvent their lives again for the second time. My parents came to this country with documents, and we were fortunate in that way. But they reinvented their lives for the second time with 2 children, again, no English, and starting all over again. I think about them so often now because I'm about the age they were when they reinvented their lives for the second time. And I have 2 small children, they're 6 and 3. And with all my education, all my language skills, I don't know that I could reinvent my life one time, let alone twice, no matter how much I love my children. And I think today about how little difference there is between me and so many other children who come to our country. I was fortunate that my parents had documents, but I didn't make a choice to come here. And I think so often today about how many dreamers are out there who also didn't make a choice, but they're here, and this is the only country they ever knew. All of us are immigrants in one way or another, unless we're the original people of this land. And so we've got to realize that we're all in it together. If we believe in racial justice, if we believe in any kind of faith tradition, if we believe in this idea of democracy, I'm telling you today that we've got to roll up our sleeves even more than we already have. We got to dig deeper, and we have to find a place to be able to live the dream that so many of our parents and our ancestors wanted for us. Have you ever heard the line from the poem? You may not have heard of the poet. His name was Warsan Shire. But he so famously wrote in a poem, I held an atlas in my lap, ran my hands across the whole world, and whispered, where does it hurt? It answered, everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Have you heard this poem before? I think of it so often these days as I'm battling with whatever the headlines of the hour are, let alone of the day. Whatever onslaught of news that is threatening people's lives, threatening their safety and security, threatening their freedoms, is happening around me. Not just in our country, but all around the world. It hurts, it hurts everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Today, this morning, it hurts a little less, for me at least, because we're all together. But most days, it hurts practically everywhere. We're taking one hit after another with words and policies meant to dismiss us, to devalue us, and to dehumanize us. And when I say us, I'm not talking about just American Muslims. I'm talking about all of us women, people of color, LGBTQ, trans, you name it. We are all on the line. Unless I'm forgetting, I think that the only protected class are white men, I think, these days. This is a challenge that poses a challenge to all of our identities and to the democracy of the country that we all hold so dear. The soul of our country is strong, right? It's built on the Constitution, and that's what's holding us all together today. But the soul of our country is also fragile at the same time. Just think how many times in our country we have been through convulsions, and how often those convulsions come down to immigration, to race, to ways of people belonging, to what it counts to be an American. These are the ways that we are all being tested today, because the soul of our country today is once again convulsing. We are in convulsions. We are experiencing a convulsion, like Winston Churchill once said, famously, of a crisis, it's best not to waste it. Because in crises is when we have some of our biggest awakenings. Just think about the last time that you lost something you hold dear, or you were challenged by a family member or a professional challenge. And it's only in those moments when you're in that moment of crisis do you get clear about what really matters. Right now, we all need to be clear about what really matters. Dr. Sala said so beautifully today all of the reasons that we should not just be caring, but that we should be using our voices. It is critical that we not just be armchair activists, that we also not just be social media activists. And social media is a game changer, don't get me wrong. And I'm going to talk about the Me Too movement in just a moment. But the ways that social media can create spaces of community, it can also tear us apart. It's a double-edged sword, and I think we're all seeing that so clearly. If our country is in a defining moment, and I hope that we all believe it is, it's not a moment that's going to run away from us unless we let it. It's a moment where we can evolve and turn into a new version of ourselves, a renewed moment of America. About a month ago, I was at a retreat of innovative spiritual leaders. I don't know if I am one of those, but I'm invited anyway. And somebody told a story about how a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. A story I thought I knew. But the version that I thought I knew involved the caterpillar being inside of a cocoon for a while, that shell cracking, falling off, and then the butterfly springing forth. Right? It's miraculous. It's effortless. But that's not actually how it goes down. Do you know how it actually goes down? So once the caterpillar's in the cocoon, it has to stay in there for a while. A few weeks. Right? Until whatever magic happens on the inside happens, that internal transformation. And then that shell, that chrysalis cracks. But it doesn't just fall off on its own. No, what does the caterpillar have to do? The caterpillar has to shake off vigorously, violently, for a long period of time, this casing, which has held it safe, which has been part of its transformation, but it has to shake it off. No one can do it for the caterpillar. The caterpillar has to do it all by itself. Imagine that caterpillar hanging upside down from a branch, right? Isn't that how it happens? And it has to shake off vigorously. My friends, today, we are all caterpillars. We are all caterpillars who have to shake off vigorously the evil that is all around us, the evil that is within us, the shortcomings that keep us silent, and the fear, especially, that so many of us as women feel of, what will people say? I grew up in a what will people say kind of family. And for far too long, it helped me keep my mouth shut and keep my smile big. But it didn't help me to be my authentic self. Being a public American Muslim for the last 15 years, operating on all the stages that you heard described, I roll my eyes because people say, oh, I saw you on television. And they're so proud. And I have a hard time not rolling my eyes because And I finally let it out one time and said, that just means something bad happened. That's the only time you're going to see me on television, practically. So it's hard to feel proud in those moments. But I take every single one of those moments because I know that I must tell my story for people who cannot tell their stories. And I know that every single one of you in this room know that you must tell your stories for the people who cannot be here to tell their stories. And that it is in our convulsions, our evolving from being a caterpillar to a butterfly, glorious and miraculous, that we will regain our national character. And we are seeing that happen today all around in our country. When I feel depressed, I just think of all of the beautiful ways that Americans every day are fighting back. They're responding, they're saying no to hatred and division. Just think of the awful, tragic, horrific events that took place in Charlottesville. When Heather Heyer was killed with a car by a white supremacist. That followed a litany of police killings by black men. Her death was a light for us all, wasn't it? It was another wake-up moment. And while Donald Trump's reaction was a call for us to not only stand up and reject white supremacy and work for change wherever we are, as Heather Heyer's mother said, they tried to extinguish her, but they amplified her instead. Do you remember that? Didn't they do just that? May we not have to face what Heather faced to let our lives be a light, to let our voices be amplified, to let our lives be a message. The lesson of Charlottesville is that we can all be Heather and stand up and be the light, and that we must if we want to save our country from itself. But just see what our country has also accomplished. I'm from a targeted community of Muslims. Muslim ban 1.0 got shut down. Muslim ban 2.0 got shut down. Muslim ban 3.0 just last week got shut down. It was from our court system. Our democracy can hold strong. Our institutions can withstand. But it takes people going to sue. It takes organizations standing up and fighting back and resisting every day to do what needs to be done. We can see that we can win, but we have to keep doing it. I don't know about you, but these days I'm often finding myself in outrage fatigue. I don't know how much more outraged I can get. I don't know how much sadder I can get. I don't know how much more confused I can get. But that's what these trying times want to do to us. We're in the middle of the vigorous shaking. And sometimes when you're in vigorous shaking, aren't you a little dizzy? I think we're all a little dizzy. And I think it's understandable. But this is why the power of telling our stories is so critical. And I want to bring us to the Me Too movement. To the voices of women near and far all around the world and girls who are telling their stories. Telling their stories of vulnerability, of abuse, of ways that their boundaries have been crossed, big and small. And it's providing another profound moment of introspection. And for far too many men, it's giving them a moment of, oh, I didn't know it was that bad. And I feel the same way, it was a full circle moment for me because that's how I felt. I'm sorry to be so political today, but that's how I felt when Donald Trump got elected. I didn't know it was so bad. I didn't know that this could happen. I didn't see it coming. But my friends, my other people of color friends, they saw it coming. But I had a blindness. And I think that in the Me Too movement, people are realizing their own blindness, just in the way that I had a blindness to what was going on around me. Me Too is shining a huge spotlight on the prevalence of sexual harassment and assault and violence worldwide. And we need these kind of awakenings to see within ourselves and to make changes all around us. Breaking the silence and telling our stories is a huge step towards change. And it's on us to keep pushing for change actively. We each have to stand up and claim our voice. Now, this is the only time I'm going to quote the Quran, our holy text, but in a way that is particularly powerful to me. As a Muslim, I believe that God teaches me that He says good and evil are not equal. So repel evil with what is better, until the one who is like your worst enemy becomes like your closest friend. That's a pretty big task. And it feels real big every day. But I know that in us being together, and us standing up, that we claim our power, we claim our voices. And just like the amazing author Alice Walker said, the most common way that people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. Do you know that you have power? Do you know that you have power?
Yeah.
We each have a choice of what we're going to do with our power. We each have a zone of influence, small, medium, or big. And we each choose when we choose to stay silent and when we choose to step up, when we choose to speak up and to share our truths, not the truths. So I urge you, I beg you to do that. Not just today as you walk out of here, but that you do it every day. And that you focus not just on being right and on winning, but on connecting with people. Because one thing I've learned as a Muslim, that I've also seen from so many other communities, is that exposure is everything. I know that the single greatest predictor of somebody's perception of Islam and Muslims is whether they know a Muslim. I know you know that too about African Americans, Latinos, LGBTQ, right? So many identities that we hold. Knowing somebody is a game changer. So that takes both our willingness to get to know people, and it also takes a willingness to get to be known, right? And both of those are deep ways of knowing. So we gotta get deep, folks, if we want to make a difference. And I'll leave you with the words of the incredible Dr. Maya Angelou, who said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel." I'm grateful this morning that I feel inspired, that you've overcome my outrage fatigue, and that you've given me another boost of energy to go out and do the work that we all need to do. Thank you for fighting for racial justice. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. And